To our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Edelberto L. Oplinaria. To our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Rosemary T. Macesar. To our SGOD Chief, Dr. Maria Carmela T. Ablin. To our CID Chief, Dr. Maria Eva S. Idon. To our Senior Education Program Specialist, Sir Bridget E. Abalorio. And to all of us, good day. Welcome to my completed research entitled An Assessment of Schools Disaster Risk Reduction and Management, Basis for Intervention Program. I am Mr. J.R.A. Aclao, Teacher 1 at the Lamas Central Elementary School.
RATIONALE. Cyclones, typhoons, and hurricanes are among the deadliest and costliest of disasters. Annually, recurring floods regularly prevent millions of children from attending a full year of school. From the past undertakings brought about the deadliest quake that struck Bohol, a large devastation washed by Super Typhoon Yolanda in the eastern Visayas way back 2013, and being victim of Typhoon Vinta that has affected some municipalities in the Lanao province in 2015, people from Lanao del Norte had learned to harness safety measures and precautions in advance and learned to never underestimate the coming of disasters. The Lamas Central Elementary School is located at Baroy, Lanao del Norte. It is just miles away from the identified volcano of Mount Malindang in Misamis Occidental, which can create possible high-scale earth tremors from its neighboring provinces including Lanao del Norte. Being a remote school, most of its learners from the neighboring barangays are residing at the foot of mountains and sidelines of river banks. This situation resulted too much risk for the pupils, especially during rainy season, where children have to cross the bridge and river banks on coming to school and may be possibly affected to the occurrence of flash flood and landslide along the way. We are not able to prevent the earth from shaking, the wind from blowing, or the rain from falling. However, with assessment and planning, physical and environmental protection and response preparedness, we can prevent these events from becoming disasters. Since schools are universal institutions for sharing knowledge and skills, the expectations for schools to be role models in disaster prevention is high. Successful disaster mitigation is one of the ultimate tests of the success of education we provide over generation. This study will evaluate the Lamas Central Elementary School as to what extent the school disaster risk reduction and management is implemented to ensure the utmost safety of learners towards inclement weather conditions and uncertain emergencies. This is assessing the school on how they respond and handle emergency crises as being anchored by the Department of Education. Research questions. This study will assess the implementation of the Lamas Central Elementary School towards school disaster risk reduction and management during the school year 2018 and 2019. The results will be basis for the development of school DRRM intervention program. Specifically, this study seeks to answer the following questions. Number 1. To what extent does the Lamas Central Elementary School implement the school disaster risk reduction and management using the 3 pillars of risk assessment of the comprehensive DRRM in basic education framework? Disaster risk reduction in education, school disaster management, safe learning facilities. Number 2 question. Based on the results, what intervention program can be developed? Scope and limitation. The study assessed the implementation of school disaster risk reduction and management at the Lamas Central Elementary School, the Lama Baroy, Lanao del Norte during the school year 2018 to 2019, first half of the year. The respondents of the study were the school head, teachers, learners, and external stakeholders both from Parents Teachers Association or PTA, School Governing Council or SGC, and local employees supporting the school. The researcher employed descriptive type of research using the adapted and modified checklist from the Department of Education 2012 School Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Manual. Results and discussion. Number one question. To what extent does the Lama Central Elementary School implement the School Disaster Risk Reduction and Management based on the RR in education? Based from the underlying results, 50 or 100% of the respondents have positive responses to the indicators like engaged student participation, such activities in the RRM like fire drill, earthquake drill, forums, and symposium assessed at the school level, and initiate capacity building plan for teachers and is the RRM team to manage any event of disaster. Conduct monitoring and evaluation to drills and activities assessed at the school level by the Division DRRM coordinator, responsible authorities, and is the RRM composing team. Submit narrative reports to drills and activities conducted at the school level to the Division DRRM personnel. Initiate tree planting and tree growing or caring activities with the pupils as prescribed by DepEd Order Number 5 Series 2014 as key component to attain the goals of DepEd on biodiversity, conservation, and climate change mitigation and adaptation. Obey protocols and instructions as mandated by the department based from national, regional, and division orders and memoranda relative to the RRM and participate activities in the school calendar mandated by DepEd such as World Environment Day and Safe Kids Week in June, the National Disaster Consciousness Month in July, Clean and Green Month in September, National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill in November, and the Fire Prevention Month in March. These strengths really testify that schools are universal institution for sharing knowledge and skills, and thus the expectations for schools to be role models in disaster prevention is high. Successful disaster mitigation is one of the ultimate tests of the success of the education we provide over generations, as found out to the studies of International Finance Corporation 2010, Disaster and Emergency Preparedness Guidance for Schools. Moreover, the result also support that schools engaged in real-world problems in their local communities can participate in vulnerability and capacity assessments, learn and problem solve about measures for disaster risk reduction, and take messages they have internalized home to their families, friends, and neighbors, as found out through studies of IZADCA 2005. Number 2 question. To what extent does the Lama Central Elementary School implement the School Disaster Risk Reduction and Management based on School Disaster Management? Based from the underlying results, the indicators that receive 100% of the implementation are the following. Organized School Disaster Management Committee composed of First Aid Team, Site Security Team, Fire Safety Team, Evacuation Team, Communication Team, and Search and Rescue Team to support the implementation of preparedness and response measure at school level. Designate alternate school DRRM focal person. Engage student participation such as the creation of school watching team from the roster of pupils who are responsible enough to conduct risk assessment of the school. Establish of an early warning system. Communities participate in the construction and maintenance of the school during the Brigada Eskwela or Pahina, and submit also Radar 1 and 2 or rapid risk assessment of report damages to responsible authorities for situation and incidents report of emergencies happening inside the school premises. This is made possible through the effort of the school and its strong linkages to the community stakeholders to support the SDRRM programs. The creation of school disaster management team and school watching team are important factors of designating responsible authorities to formulate, carry, and implement plans relative to the RRM. This shall also cover the setting up of system processes and standards to operationalize the four thematic areas in the context of the RRM, such as disaster preparedness and mitigation, disaster response, disaster recovery, and rehabilitation. The positive results of the findings also justify the studies of Koichi Shiwaku et al. 2007 that community plays the essential role for promoting students' actual actions for disaster reduction. Future disaster education in schools should be active learning for students. Continuous community involvement is the most important factor for school disaster education. Number 3 question. To what extent does the Lamas Central Elementary School implement the school disaster risk reduction and management based on safe learning facilities? As reflected in the results, full implementation was given emphasis to the indicators like the school is accessible to all, maintain the safekeeping of vital records or learning materials, post updated emergency hotlines, put up centralized the RRM center, set up classroom-based the RRM corner, prepare and post noticeable evacuation plan and safety signages, conduct student-led school hazard mapping, update baseline data of the school BEIS, identify temporary evacuation area or center, and posted school site development plan and school hazard map. The strength of the findings support the findings of Guy Elena 2010 that it is not possible to plan for every eventuality that might occur. However, preparation is key to saving lives if a disaster strikes. It also answers Depend Order number 50 series 2011 entitled Creation of the RRM Office, where the school has constructed the RRM corner and center. This also implicates that identifying potential hazards and risks of the school significantly improves the practices of the school to seriously establish an early warning system and the need to post emergency signages and hotlines in strategic location for public information. Last question. Based on the results, what intervention program can be developed? So here is the intervention program for the school year 2019 to 2020 until school year 2020 to 2021. Recommendations. Based on the preceding results, the researcher endorses the following recommendations. Number 1. Every administrator is required to have a realistic and feasible RRM intervention program as basis for calendar year activities on the RRM for 3 successive years. Number 2. Administrators may integrate the RRM in school improvement plan for budgetary and allocation purposes to the RRM related programs and activities assessed at the school level. Number 3 is the RRM team as a school organization may initiate the conduct of specialized training on the RRM to teachers and its members like basic life-saving, first aid services, knowledge on managing information at any phase of disaster, and Philippine RRM system. Number 4. The school also may tap community and local agencies to initiate seminars and training for preparedness measures, mitigation practices, response actions, and recovery schemes to intensify awareness and understanding to any event of disaster and should maintain close coordination with them. And number 5, copies of the study results may be furnished to the SDRRM team, school heads, and division DRRM personnel for the knowledge of the present condition and status of SDRRM implementation. That ends my presentation and God bless everyone.